Welcome to the F.E.A.R Chronicles, false evidence appearing real, where we are covering real stories for navigating burnout, bold moves, and becoming your best self. I'm your host, Natasha Aga, private practice strategist, mother of two, and recovering perfectionist. This is the space where we get honest about the pivots, the pressure, and the purpose behind it all. If you're navigating life transitions, career shifts, motherhood, or learning to trust yourself again, you're in the right place. Let's dive in. Protecting your peace. What does that truly mean? In this episode, we are going to break down protecting your peace both personally and professionally. Your peace, your sanity, your mental bandwidth stems from boundaries. When we lack boundaries, whether that's setting them, maintaining them, or even understanding what they actually mean, it all starts with you. For the majority of my adult life, I was a people pleaser and borderline perfectionist, control freak of sorts. This bled into my personal relationships and into my professional career. I went the extra mile. I stayed late. I came in early. I dropped everything at the detriment of myself and my goals. I seldom stopped to think about myself and how I was actually feeling. At times when I would get frustrated, I would complain about my circumstances, but not what the cause was. This eventually led to me hitting my figurative rock bottom in all areas of my life. What I couldn't see in the moment is that I let everything around me, my circumstances, people, dictate my feelings, my schedule, and how I showed up every day. I later discovered the term compassion fatigue during the pandemic, which led me to start unveiling what was really going on. I gave selflessly until I had nothing else to give. I was depleted of my energy. I would skip meals, worked myself into the ground as a clinician, as a business owner, a mother, and because my plate was overflowing, my personal relationships and the relationship with myself went on the back burner. Many of us get into these professions because we want to help others. And there is a line that I found that tends to get thinner and thinner as we progress in our careers. So this could be kind of positions or roles or titles, however you want to look at it. So this could be caregiver versus being a caretaker. Being a caregiver is healthy. That is when you're giving care to another person or many people, but you do this in a fashion that doesn't deplete you. You still take care of yourself and you set some boundaries between you and everything else that you're taking care of. When you're a caretaker, which is the role I frequently found myself in, it ends up being that you are just overdoing it. You're overextending yourself in nearly all areas of your life. You're taking care of literally everything and everyone else except yourself. Then there's other areas like maintenance versus self-care. What does that even mean? So the difference is that maintenance, these are things that you should be doing anyway. So whether that's getting your hair cut and colored, getting your nails done, going for routine things like massages, the chiropractor, working out or going on daily walks, whatever the case may be, things that you should be doing to, be the healthiest version of yourself. Now, With self-care, the simplest way that I can describe this, and I liken this to batteries. So, what I mean by this is these are activities or things that you do that recharge your batteries. What fills up your cup? What lights you up? What makes you feel refreshed? And that is different for everyone. But the main thing I want you to take away from this is it's not things that you should already be doing. These are things, self-care wise, that are specific to you and recharging your batteries. And then sometimes we begin to kind of push around and manage things instead of, when it comes to our business, expanding our business, um, progressing in our self-development, our careers, all these things. When we're just managing and pushing things around, we're not actually dealing with anything. We're not simplifying anything. We're not actually doing anything. It's a sense of busy work. It's not taking care of root problems to be essentially efficient. So this tends to show up as being stuck in your business, stuck in your life, stuck in your career, stuck, whatever areas that you feel stagnant, stuck in. This is because, again, we are not doing things efficiently. And this is in any area of your life. This could be from your closet in your room. This could be from, yeah, not being able to expand in your business. Why? That's where you have to really take a look at things. And when we don't take the time to do any of these things because of our inability or lack of ability to maintain boundaries or set boundaries in either personal or professional lives, this is how it manifests. So, I'm just going to do a high level overview of both ways that you can set boundaries, both personally and professionally. And the takeaway when I break these down, the very simplified version of this is you teach people how to treat you. That is what you're doing. Because if you don't set that expectation from the beginning, doesn't matter if we're talking personal or professional in any area of your life, you don't set those expectations and you're not openly and effectively communicating what you either need, what they can expect from you, or how this relationship, business or personal, is going to ensue, well, you're going to have problems. And you have to be crystal clear from the beginning. So let's talk about professional. There are several different ways that you can set and then maintain professional boundaries are things like setting up and sticking to your work time boundaries. This is whether it's certain days a week that you're working and what times of those days are you working. And then furthermore, in those work days, do you have then set blocks that you stick to for admin time, anything else? Now, when it comes to scheduling, you can do this to help enforce your work time boundaries when it comes to like clients scheduling appointments. You can set up, online appointment calendar where they pick their appointments because you've already then put into that system the times that you're available. And then it nicks this back and forth of, can you do this time? No, can you do this time? Or the opportunity that could arise where you decide to be flexible and then give in and work outside of your work boundary time, or when it's supposed to be a designated time for something else, like say admin, and you slide an appointment for a client instead. You can also set up expected response times for colleagues or clients. So, like if they reach out to you with a question, or say you had recommended some kind of equipment, and they have a question, they either call and leave a voicemail or they send you an email. You can specifically outline beforehand, like at the beginning of your working relationship, that you can expect to receive a response time from me within, 24 to 48 hours, or 48 to 72 hours, or 3 business days. I tend to always give more time than I need so I don't feel rushed and I'm well within the window that I've provided. But you give those expectations beforehand. Other things that you can do, again, this is not an all-inclusive list, is um, having set cancellation policies in place and then sticking to them. And again, this is something you would do at the beginning of that relationship with, usually this would be for clients. Um, and even when it comes to the financial piece, if you are sending out invoices manually, there's a few ways to go about this, but the simplest way is to automate these, if at all possible, of when they go out and how. And then that takes you out of the equation of having feelings about it, being late because you don't want to hit send on this invoice, or a certain client or account is really overdue and now you're slapping late fees on it and you have feelings about it. Take yourself out of the equation if at all possible and automate that. And if you can't, delegate that to somebody else, but maintain your boundaries. Again, all of these things would take place again at the beginning of your client relationships or with colleagues, what have you, because you're setting clear and open communication and expectations of what they can expect from you, and also what to expect going forward as far as how to treat you. So we're going to get into that when we talk about personal. So when we talk about personal, there's a few, I think, overarching themes that I'm going to talk about. But the first thing I want to say is that this is where intentionality comes into place, about putting yourself first. I mean, you are in professional too, but of course, the center of it's a bit different because it's in that professional client, either clinician to client or colleague to colleague relationship. Whereas in personal, the dynamics can always be very different. But really coming from a place of putting yourself first. Now, with boundaries, this could be in respect to scheduling and following through on intentional resting, taking breaks daily, checking in with yourself and how you're feeling. How's your body feeling? Your routines. What do you typically do in the morning? What's your health routine as far as working out, your eating habits, your snacks, what are you doing? Hydration. The way that you communicate or lack thereof is, are you trying to keep the peace so you don't say something? You be very intentional with checking in with yourself, with the intention also of teaching people how to treat you. What should they expect? And being very clear. So, other things you could ask yourself, what are you tolerating? Or what are you no longer available for? So, especially when you're coming to a point of changing the dynamic in a relationship, if you are feeling not like you're not being heard, or you feeling disrespected, or you feel like there isn't a healthy give and take in a friendship, or whatever the case may be, explicitly stating what you are no longer available for and what the new expectation should be. Because, of course, with any kind of relationship and anything in life, things change, even in professional. I mean, if there's any constant in life, it is change. Everything is always changing. So, if expectations or feelings or dynamics change, then be very clear and then set the boundaries accordingly. Set the boundaries accordingly. Make those decisions or expectations clear to yourself and those this applies to. You want to close any energetic leaks, which could be relationships, people, events, opportunities that aren't aligned or that you don't want to do. Peace is being honest with yourself. Once you're honest with yourself, this will lead you to be honest with those around you. The takeaway for this episode is the right kind of no is better than the wrong kind of yes. So you may be the villain in someone else's story when you set and maintain boundaries, personally or professionally. Know that if this happens, that it is okay. A lot of the time, that's their story, their perception, their projections that work and the work that they just haven't done on themselves. When you communicate your boundaries and your expectations clearly, your peace can be loud to someone else that doesn't have their own peace. They're not, in the same place as you. Your peace is clarity. Your peace is power. Your strength is trusting yourself, what feels good to you, and aligned with what you value, your goals, and ultimately your success and your freedom. So I would love to hear from you. Any light bulb moments, insights, or takeaways from this episode? You can share with me on Instagram at Natasha Aga Consulting or comment below. I invite you to also take my 2-minute Are You the Bottleneck quiz to find out who or what is slowing down your progress. It's fast, fun, and eye-opening, which I will link in the show notes below. Thanks for joining me on the F.E.A.R Chronicles. If this episode resonated with you, I'd love for you to like, comment, or share with someone who needs it. Want more support? Check out the links below for free resources, workshops, and how to work with me. Remember, bold moves start with small shifts. You've got this, and I've got you.